6-0 under Bruce Boudreau. This is the sixth coach in NHL history to win their first 6 games as a coach of a team. I don't know what the record is for 7-0, but we might find out on Saturday night, Hockey Night in Canada against the Toronto Maple Leafs. But this is a game where the Canucks just keep finding ways to win. And, you know, sure, they might have been the worst team for portions of this game, and we've had that happen already this year, right? We had that game against the Hurricanes where the Canucks might have been the worst team, you know, a couple days ago, but they still pulled out a win, and that's what good teams do. Again, I'm a little hesitant to say this is a good team, but it is a team that is one game below 500, a team that has won 6 in a row, and a team that shows no signs of stopping, unless you look at crippled defense and COVID issues as signs of potentially stopping. But I digress. This was a fun game. We're going to break this one down. Of course, this one is not live, not a live post game here for the first time this season. I had a hockey game that went late, so we're going to break this one down. We won't take any viewer questions because there's no viewer questions for me to take. But we will be back to our live, regular scheduled programming at about 6:30 on Saturday night. Let's break this one down. I'll give you my thoughts. I've got a big old list of thoughts for me to go over for this game. And of course, those of you listening on the podcast side, I appreciate you. Sorry it's up so late. And I guess the same to you YouTube folks. All right. Thatcher Demko, Adin Hill. A game that, you know, the Canucks won their first road game under Bruce Boudreau, going over into San Jose for a quick little stop. Then they come back home to take on the Maple Leafs and the Coyotes, and they open the scoring about 12 and a half minutes in. Tanner Pearson, who had one of his best games this season, which, sure, not a high bar, but he did play pretty well, and the Canucks open the scoring. It's Tanner Pearson making a great pass across, finding Brock Boeser. He's sitting at the left face-off dot, and he just loads up the pass and slings it under the bar, far side, and it's 1-0 Vancouver. That's Brock Boeser's, third goal in 4 games or something silly like that. Brock Boeser's on a heater right now, and I tweeted out we're in the Brock Boeser era, and he wasn't done tonight, but we'll get to that a little bit later. Canucks go to the power play a couple minutes later. Couture goes sort of neon Dickinson. A ton of passes on this power play, and they were only passing, finding the perfect play. And then JT Miller finds that perfect pass. He fires it across to Bo Horvat, and again, he fires it high on Adin Hill, and he rips it over the right shoulder of Hill. All of the Canucks goals tonight, except for the empty netter, were high shots on Adin Hill. He just struggled. He just struggled to get the glove up, the shoulder up. He just couldn't handle these high beauty shots from Boeser and Horvat, at least to this point in this game. San Jose did get one right back, though, less than a minute later. An unfortunate sort of circumstance for the Canucks. Podkolzin blocks a shot. The puck bounces off of him right to Timo Meier, who just fires it right away. A great shot from Meier. It's 2-1 after 1 period. So a decent period for the Canucks, right? Shots in the first were 13-10. San Jose might have been the slightly better period. You look at it analytically, and if you go by expected goals, it's dead even, right? 0.67 to 0.66, dead even in expected goals after 1 period. But hey, the Canucks pulled out a lead, and that is great. Now, Tanner Pearson did have the easiest chance to score at the end of the first period of all time. Boeser made a really good pass from behind the net. The goalie was looking the other way, and it hits Pearson's skate, and it goes over his stick, and it was free. But Tanner Pearson messed it up. But that's okay, because Tanner Pearson was okay tonight. 2 assists for Tanner Pearson, so that's nice, at least. We go to the second period. Things go poorly for the Canucks in the second period, especially early. We have Vasily Podkolzin taking a puck to the face. He missed basically the entire second period. Did come back for the third, though, so that is good. And then Guillaume Brisebois left the game as well, and he didn't return. Not COVID-related, but injury-related. So the Canucks down to 5D in this game. And where's their depth at this point? Their Canucks are running out of D-men. Who do you pull up next? Are you pulling up Jet Wu, who, like I said, last post-game was just scratched in Abbotsford a couple days ago? Things are getting slim, but hey, again, it's hard to complain when the Canucks have given up in the last few games 2 goals, 3 goals, 1 goal, 3 goals, 1 goal, 0 goals so far in the Bruce Boudreau era. The Canucks have allowed 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 goals in 6 games in the Bruce Boudreau era, if my math has not failed me. That's really good. And again, a lot of that is Thatcher Demko, who once again was quite good tonight. And then Demko makes a big save on Holmguoks. Man, that was a fun name in this game. The Canucks don't get a shot in the second period until 14 and a half minutes in. Now, I think Boeser was credited with one at like the 7-minute mark, but I think it hit the side of the net. Other than that one, it was 14 and a half minutes in till the Canucks got their first shot. And then they're the team that scores in the second period. It's Brock Boeser once again. JT Miller finds him in the bottom corner of the faceoff circle. He's all alone. He takes his time. He loads it up and just rips it past Adin Hill. This is vintage Brock Boeser that we are seeing. Sure, he's a little streaky, but when he is on, he is on. It's short side, 3-1 Vancouver after 2 periods. Shots after 2, 25-15 in favor of San Jose. So awful second period for the Canucks, right? Shots in the second alone, 12-5 for San Jose, and they were all over the Canucks, right? Keep in mind, all 5 of the Canucks shots basically came at the end of the period, where they did score a goal. But hey, they survived it. They have a great goalie. The defense held up. They survived it. They go into the third period with a 2-goal lead. And then the Canucks dial up the pressure. The Canucks have been very good in third periods lately. We saw it heavily against Columbus 2 nights ago. And we saw it a lot here tonight. And for the first 5 to 7 minutes or so, we had Jason Dickinson getting 2 really good chances in all alone. Canucks get a power play, and we have a Pettersson bomb that gets stopped. We have Horvat ripping one off the bar because his shot is just dialed in right now. But then, right as people like Thomas Drance are tweeting, once again, this Canucks team is excellent in the third period, and people are like, man, the Canucks look so good right now. San Jose scores seconds later. Literally seconds later. It is an alley-oop pass. The Canucks are just putting on pressure, so they flip one out to Andrew Cogliano, who, yes, still exists. It jumps over the stick of Noah Juleson, who really should have made a better play here, whether it's 1, making contact with the puck and not missing it, 2, playing the man would have been the preferable thing, right? Get in his way, lift his stick, prevent him from just walking around you. It's Andrew Cogliano. He's not the fastest skater, but Juleson gets beat clean by Cogliano, who goes in and just slides it 5-hole on Demko. So one that Juleson wants back, one that Demko wants back. Just sort of rough all around. But the Canucks keeping some decent pressure on, not letting the Sharks spend too much time in their zone. There were a couple of chances. 3 minutes left in the game. We have Brent Burns teeing someone up. I don't remember exactly who it was, but it looked like a wide open net. And Thatcher Demko, sprawling to his right, does that sort of thing where one pad's facing this way, the other pad's facing this way, like up in the air. I don't know what he did, but he absolutely robbed the Sharks player here to keep this game in favor of the Canucks, keep the 3-goal lead, and Canucks go the other way, and they just score. They say, yeah, we have a good goalie. Your goalie's not playing well. We'll just go the other way. JT Miller walks in unassisted, looking past the entire way. It's sort of a 3-on-2, but there's a Sharks defender catching up, so it's not like a super high danger play. But JT Miller just sort of looks left, looks right, looking past, and then rips it, and it goes in. High glove. Adin Hill just cannot handle those high shots tonight. And just like that, it is 4-2, a clutch goal from JT Miller, his 10th of the season. They pull Adin Hill with 75 seconds left, and 13 seconds later, a great play up by Kyle Burrows. Pettersson gets to the puck. They're 2-on-1. He plays it over to Dickinson, who is all by himself in front of the net, and Jason Dickinson gets his 2nd goal of the year, pretends to break the stick because he snaps the slump, getting only his 2nd of the year. But it's 5-2, and that's how this game ends. Golf claps for the boys. 6 in a row. We'll go over pluses and minuses now, and then we'll take a look ahead, because some big games coming up here leading into the Christmas break, some winnable games at that. Folks, the Canucks are so close. The Canucks are a win away from being at 500. And they're 4 points behind Edmonton. Edmonton finally won a game tonight as well, which sucks. They finally broke through against Columbus, but we'll go over the standings and all of that in a few minutes here. Let's go into the pluses, the positives. If you're new here, the pluses are the things that I liked from the game. The minuses are the things that I didn't. Pluses, 6 in a row, obviously. Bruce Boudreau just getting stuff out of this team. And again, a game that they could have easily lost, right? Just based on the way the game was played, right? It's a pretty even game. Sharks had the big edge in the second period, but the other two periods were pretty even. But, if you're playing well, sometimes it's hard to break streaks, and that goes in both directions. If you're on a big losing streak and you go into a game and you just play as good as the other team, it's hard to win. It's hard to break through the momentum that you sort of have. And it goes the other way, right? When you're on a heater, things just kind of bounce right for you. And the big thing for the Canucks is look at the players listed next to my face that scored these goals. Brock Boeser had 2. Bo Horvat had 1. JT Miller had 1. You go back to the game the other night, right? And it's all the big guys scoring these goals. The guys you want to be out there scoring goals. Bo Horvat is on just a heater right now. Brock Boeser is playing great. Elias Pettersson's playing the best that he's played all season. Quinn Hughes is an absolute monster, right? The Canucks are having all of their best players show up. And that's what they need for this team because they're a very top-heavy roster. They have a lot of good offensive players, and if they're out there scoring goals, right, you get 4 goals a game, not including the empty netter, you have a good chance of winning. So that is big for the team. Another one, divisional win. Sure, San Jose is probably kind of out of it. They've been on a bit of a rough skid lately. They are 6th in the Pacific Division. But, they have the same amount of points as LA. If they had won tonight, they would have gone up to 5th. And it's a game where the Canucks get a little bit of a swing here, right? The Canucks move up to 30 points. They are now only 1 point back of San Jose, so they're inching up. They're almost 6th in the division. Guess what? They're also 1 point back of LA. Sure, LA has 3 games in hand, but hey, they got to win those games if they want those points. So they're sneaking up there. They're 4 points back of Edmonton. They're 6 points back of Vegas. They're 6 points back of Calgary. It's getting interesting. And if the Canucks can keep this up, and sure, the game against Toronto will be difficult. We'll get to that. But if they can keep something like this up, we might be having a fun season. My next plus, the bounce back. That bad second period, and then to come out in the third period and take over the play. And they've done this quite a bit lately, right? Was it the Columbus game where they had a really bad period and it was okay? This is their test. They need to come out and be the better team. And what did they do? They ran over Columbus in the second and third period. They got outplayed in the first. They were behind the 8 ball. They were down 3-0. And then they came out and they just rolled Columbus. They stuck with their system. They said, okay, things are going to work. We don't have to try to play hero puck here. We're going to go out, we're going to play our game, and eventually pucks will go in. And they did, and they won that game in regulation. Same thing tonight. They go out, they have the second period, they don't play well, San Jose's all over them, but they're still up 3-1. So all you have to do is go out in the third period and play your game, play at the level that you can play at, and you're going to win. And that is what they did. So this bounce back that we're seeing, the buy-in, and this, in my mind, lends a lot to coaching, is the ability to have these bounce backs and to have a rough period or a rough few shifts and say, hey, this doesn't define us. Let's go out there and play some better hockey that we know we can play because, hey, we're on a 6-game winning streak. We can play this level of hockey. Let's go do that. Brock Boeser. That's it. Brock Boeser. I mean, his shot is lethal. How many goals is that lately? He's up to 9 on the season, but I think he's got like 6 of them in the last 6 games or something crazy like that. Or maybe 5 in the last 6. I don't know. Brock Boeser's on an absolute tear right now. He can't be stopped. He looks so good out there. And who else looks good out there? The captain, Bo Horvat. Another goal tonight. He's just a great shooter. He's going out there and he's leading the team, right? He's putting the team on, not on his back necessarily, but he's going out there. He leads by example. He brings energy every shift. And I've been loving what we've been seeing from Bo Horvat. I'm going to give a minor plus to Tanner Pearson. He had a decent game. 2 apples, looks good on the score sheet. There were still some iffy things, right? The goal that he really should have had, but hey, he was a +3. He had 2 assists. He played almost 18 minutes of ice time. That's a fine game for Tanner Pearson. Also, I want to mention one thing I didn't mention about Brock Boeser: 5 shots on goal tonight. He's shooting, and there were a couple times that he could have had more shots. Brock Boeser played 20 minutes, the second most out of any forward tonight on the Canucks, only behind JT Miller, who played 21 and a half. You can tell Bruce likes Brock Boeser. He's saying, hey, put this guy out there. He's doing so much good for this team. Elias Pettersson went 69% in the faceoff circle. Nice. Jason Dickinson continues to be much better. And I've said it a couple times these last couple of games, but he looks like a completely different player this last 2 weeks or so. And another big plus to Shorty and Cheech trying to say Halbgox. I forget it. I was listening to it. I had the pronunciation dialed in, Halbgox, and then I left for a while and I came back and I've lost it. Minuses. Podkolzin getting hurt, but he came back. Hopefully he's fine. Brisebois getting hurt. The defensive depth is getting scary. Like, it's getting scary, right? You don't have Shen, you don't have Hunt, you don't have Brisebois now. I've lost track of everyone that's gone. Hamonic, and Hamonic seems like he's gonna be gone for a while. There's so many. You're missing 4 of your top 7 defensemen, maybe your top 8, but like still, that's so bad for this team. On the plus side, it seems like the forwards are all right, which is at least they can score some goals. But man, they are running low on players. Bit of a minus to Noah Juleson. I thought he was pretty iffy tonight. And again, he's only going to get more ice time with Brisebois out. Juleson had to play 17:40 tonight. 18 minutes of ice time for Noah Juleson. He shouldn't have to play that much. He just shouldn't. That's tough. And then my last minus, of course, is the second period. And, 2 bad periods in the last 2 games. That first period against Columbus, the second period in this one. But the fact that they are bouncing back from those gives me a little bit more hope, right? Previously, when this team would have a bad period, they'd allow a couple goals and we'd be like, man, things are rough, right? Like, they're not coming back. The game's over. Kind of how I felt against Columbus, to be honest. But now I don't have that feeling as much anymore because there's a good chance that they're going to bounce back, that they're going to be better in the following period. They're not going to give up on a game just because they're losing. In this case, they weren't losing at any point, but you sort of get the idea there. All right, let's talk about the future. The future. Tomorrow. Not tomorrow. It says tomorrow for me. I guess tomorrow if you're watching this, because it'll probably be Saturday because it's after midnight here. Or Friday. It'll be Friday. I'm going crazy. Saturday, 4 p.m. Canucks, Maple Leafs. This is a real test. The Canucks are short a bunch of D-men. Do the Maple Leafs have any COVID issues? Maple Leafs COVID. Do they have any, no, I think they're good, eh? Am I crazy? Yeah, I think they're still good. They don't have any positive tests. So they're against basically a healthier squad in Toronto, a dangerous squad in Toronto. Toronto is currently second in the Atlantic Division. They are 28-2, 20 wins, 8 losses, 2 OTLs. They've won their last 2 games. They're 7-2-1 in their last 10. They beat the Oilers 5-1 on Tuesday. They are well rested. They have not played a game since Tuesday. They get a 4-day break basically heading into this game on Saturday. So this is an enormous test for the Vancouver Canucks. If they can pull this game off, then anything's possible at this point, right? Even if they don't pull this game off, they make it interesting, right? Let's say they lose 4-3. Sure, that's fine, right? If they can get a point out of this game, that's gravy, especially since, they're 6-0 in their last 6. They have built up, if they're going to keep winning weeks like Bruce Boudreau wants to do, they built up a bit of a buffer that will work. But if they go out and they win that game, think of how high their confidence will be going into a game against the Coyotes the following night, and then against the Sharks again on the next Tuesday, and then the Ducks, who beat them pretty bad a couple weeks ago, but hey, whole new team basically. Then the Kraken, who are struggling, then the Ducks again, then the Kings, who they beat 4-0 recently, and then the Kraken again on January 1st, and then the New York Islanders on January 5th, who are not playing well, and then the Ottawa Senators on January 8th. So Saturday's the big test. After Saturday, the Canucks play against 8 bad to middling teams. This is a real opportunity for this team to continue to play the way they have and have a real shot at doing something here. Because I look at those 8 games and I say 6-2 is on the table. So let's say the Canucks lose to Toronto, but come back, they bounce back, they make it interesting enough to keep the confidence up. And they go, let's say 6-2 in those 8 games, which again, isn't that crazy, right? We're talking 2 games against the Kraken, a game against the Coyotes. Did I say 8 games? It should be 9 games because the Senators were at the end there. So let's say they go 6-2-1, right? You know, let's say they beat the Coyotes, they beat the Kraken twice. Like, these are some beatable teams, the Islanders, the Senators, right? Teams that they can beat. Well, then where are they, right? They're 4 games above 500 if they pull that off, right? They'd have like 48 points. Like, no, they wouldn't. They would have like 43 points, but you get the idea. It's a real chance for this team to go on a bit of a heater. And it's as good of a chance as any. They've beat some good teams lately. They beat Boston. They beat Winnipeg, who's, fine. They beat Carolina. They beat Columbus, who's kind of fine. They beat San Jose, who's struggling, but they're beating teams that they can beat. And if they can stretch this in through basically January 8th, then they could be doing something. Then after that, they get a bunch of really hard games. So you want them to build up a bit of a cushion here over the next 3 weeks or so. All right, we're going to wrap up there. Thank you guys very much for tuning in. You can follow me on Twitter at ParkersPucks. You can join the Discord. Canucks After Dark is a show I do every Monday. It's all linked in the description. If you're listening on your favorite audio platform, if you're on Apple Podcasts, drop a 5-star review or something. Make sure you follow it. And, I just appreciate you guys listening. Appreciate you guys tuning in. And I'm going to go to bed because it's almost 1 a.m. and I do have work in the morning. But it will be Friday, so enjoy your weekend. I will be back with you guys Saturday at about 6:30, 7 o'clock. Hockey Night in Canada, Canucks, Maple Leafs. A chance to go 7-0. I'll see you then.